know how to really react to the news that the Tennessee Titans went ahead and parted ways with head coach Mike Mularkey, other than to kind of be confused about how this whole entire situation played out. Now, there was a lot of buzz, a lot of rumors out there about once the Titans inevitably lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, that Mularkey was going to be shown the door. While they technically made the playoffs, they didn't win the division when they had a chance to win the division. You didn't see progression. In fact, you maybe saw some regression in Marcus Mariota in year number 3, and maybe there was a bit of a belief by John Robinson that Mularkey wasn't the guy to get him all the way there long term, so why continue to go there? And he wasn't getting the best that he possibly could out of that team. Then a funny thing happened along the way. That wild card game happened in Kansas City, Andy Reid struck, and the Tennessee Titans won the game. So you thought that put all of this to rest. Not only did the Titans make the playoffs for the first time in several years, they won a playoff game that almost nobody gave them any business winning. They found a way to win after being down, 21-0? They found a way to come back and win on the road. So you get the announcement, it seemed like, I thought anyways, that the Titans were going to retain Mike Mularkey and put that aside and now focus on going into Foxborough and playing the Patriots on Saturday night, which would seem the logical thing. It's really hard to fire somebody when you haven't been to the playoffs in several years. He's taken you to the playoffs, and you go on the road and you win a road playoff game. That's something. That's not anything to sneeze at. So you would think, going into New England, and you shouldn't know the scoop by now. You have Bill Belichick, the greatest head coach in NFL history, Tom Brady, arguably the greatest quarterback in NFL history. They've got 2 weeks to rest, recuperate, and prepare. And once they knew the Titans were going to be their opponent, they had a total of 8 days to prepare. You know how this whole story is going to go. They're a better coach team. They have a better quarterback. No offense to Mariota, but you can say that with Brady compared to just about anybody else, even if Brady's not playing at that quite same Brady level. Overall, that team is just better. You have given them so much time to prepare, and this is a team that, up to that point, had made the last 6 AFC championship games. For all intents and purposes, you had to know the real deal going in. It doesn't matter who was coaching the Titans or what you were going to do. It was going to be 7 straight AFC championship game appearances for the New England Patriots. The Titans really didn't have a chance. And ultimately, that's how it played out. And that's no great surprise. And at least you could say early on the Titans took a fight to them. Hell, they were the ones to score first. They struck first. That spectacular throw by Mariota, the spectacular one-handed catch by my boy Corey Davis, and they're up 7-0 in Foxborough in the first quarter against the defending Super Bowl champions. That's something to be proud of. They clearly didn't go in there and intimidated, in there to play scared. They just ultimately had reality catch up with them. They just weren't good enough to get the job done. So you would think at that point in time, understanding the reality of the situation and knowing no matter who was going to coach it, you couldn't get any more than, honestly, what Mularkey got out of this Titans team in 2017. You would think that he would be brought back at least to start 2018, maybe given that whole season. It feels only right, because there was growth and progression under the guy. And he did get you to the playoffs where he hadn't been in several years before that. You have some level of relevancy that you haven't had in years, some level of viability, again, that you haven't had in years. I understand Mike Mularkey might not be the sexiest name in terms of an NFL head coach, and he's ultimately maybe not the guy that you win a Super Bowl title with, but you feel like he at least got you somewhere, and that at least has to be somewhat rewarded. So I was left scratching my head when I looked online and saw that Mularkey and the Titans had agreed to part ways. Now, is that because Mularkey wouldn't change his staff, specifically in the offensive side of the ball, and John Robinson, the general manager, said, nope, then we can't do it. These are the terms for you staying. It's really weird to me. And look, like I said again, I'm not saying Mike Mularkey should have been given a massive contract extension. I'm not saying that Mike Mularkey is a great coach. But my wonder is if you had this planned out all along, and maybe they did, why would you sit there and vacillate on it? You know, all the rumors were being leaked for a reason, Those rumors don't get out there about Mularkey's job being in jeopardy unless the Titans organization want those rumors to get out there because they want to let prospective head coaching candidates know, whether it's a McDaniels, whether it's this guy or that guy, that, hey, this job could be open. We are going to the playoffs. We've got this. We've got that. We've got a young quarterback in Mariota that you could groom and work with. Maybe you want to keep us in mind. Those rumors got out there for a reason because the Titans put them out there. Then to come back and basically just undercut them and say, Mularkey's our dude. And then the next week to say, no, Mularkey in fact isn't our dude. He's fired. I don't care about the wording of agreed to part ways. That means he's fired. Even if they forced him into resignation. Forced resignations are still terminations in a realistic type of way. It's just really weird and head-scratching to me because now the Titans have a significant disadvantage. Head coaches have already been hired. Other guys have been interviewed to the point where you know probably one or two other guys are locked in. You're just waiting for the playoffs to finish up. So what are the Titans going to do? It's just, again, it's really, really strange to me that they would pull the trigger and make the decision like this. And arguably, maybe somebody else could come in and do a better job. But this is also sometimes where you kind of get into that knee-jerk reflex reactionary mode that organizations do, that NFL and sports fans do, that the answer is always to fire somebody. And I'm guilty of that sometimes too. And I just don't know if you had run the full circle with Mike Mularkey yet. Maybe you had. And maybe I'm not intimately familiar enough with the Titans to be able to fully judge this. It's just, again, as a casual observer from the outside looking in, this is really bizarre. And all I can say is this. You made it to the divisional round this season. Whoever you hire better get your team at least that far, if not farther, and better win that division in 2018. Otherwise, you look like clowns for making the move. So it puts a lot of pressure on the general manager, John Robinson, and the organization as a whole, because you just fired a guy that won a playoff game. Either the measuring stick next year for success is doing something different, meaning winning the division and winning a playoff game, or making the playoffs and potentially winning 2 playoff games, or getting a first-round bye or something. You can't make this move and then just make it to the wild card round. You can't just make this move and then not make the playoffs, because I'm sorry, I don't care what people want to say about John Robinson and the type of job he's done building this team. This is the type of decision we want to talk about, the reaction of firing people. If you fire a coach that got you to the playoffs and then don't make the playoffs the next season, then to me it's the general manager who should be fired because he's the one that made the wrong decision. It's that simple. We'll see what happens. We'll see who the Titans ultimately hire, and we'll see what happens in 2018. But again, it was just a really strange way this whole thing played out. And it's just one of those things sometimes. Be careful what you wish for because you just might get it and you might not always like the results that you get.